Hello everyone, this is Ryan from the ProfitTrailer team. You may also know me as RF Radio on the ProfitTrailer support server on Discord. This video is going to be all about the buying strategies for the spread strategies, namely EMA spread and SMA spread. So first, before we get into it, we have to understand what an EMA and SMA are. If you're unfamiliar with either simple moving average or exponential moving average, I highly suggest you go over to investopedia.com and look up both of those terms. Simply put, the simple moving average is the straight average of the price of an asset as it is bought or sold. And the exponential moving average is slightly different, in which the average is weighted differently and towards the later candles in the averaging period. That's the basics of it. So now we have a basic understanding of what EMA and SMA are. The spread strategies, as set in your pairs file, rely on a difference between two moving averages, whether it's exponential or simple moving average. And the all by value defines the difference between those two moving average lines on a chart. So if we go back over to this chart, I have here the Litecoin price in Bitcoin on Binance, and right now I have this on the simple moving averages. I have plotted two of them here on the chart. In order to get this up here, I just go to TradingView and load up the interactive chart. I set this to a 15-minute period, and because this is what I have in my indicators file. And then I check the indicators here on the top and look under technical analysis under built-ins. And you'll actually have to scroll down to find it, because it is a lot further down under moving average exponential and moving average. Moving average is your simple, and moving average exponential, that's your EMA. They kind of wrote it backwards though. So whichever one you're going to use, click it twice so you can get two of them on the chart, and then you're going to modify them up here in the upper left hand corner, right where you see them appear, the two lines describing them. And the little gear icon right next to it is the setting. So under inputs for my fast EMA, I put 9. The reason we call it a fast EMA is because it's averaging over a shorter period, so it takes less time to average, therefore it is deemed faster. So I set 9 for my fast EMA, and this is just an example, by the way. You don't have to set this value. You can set this to whatever you want, as long as your fast EMA is slower than your slow EMA, or it's just as a smaller number. You got the style. You can pick a color and thickness, whatever you want to do. Save it as a default if you want. And then under my slower one, I set this to 27 candles for my moving average. And this is what it looks like on the chart. So you see my two moving averages here. Now I set a negative buy value. So what it's going to look for is this fast EMA, or actually SMA in this case, the fast SMA to drop below the slow SMA by a specified percentage. Now I set negative 0.5, which means it's going to look to make sure that the difference between the fast moving average and the slow moving average is at least 5% under it. Or not 5%, sorry, 0.5% under it. So it's 0.5%. If you ever want to find out the difference along any line, the difference between these two lines at any point, you just grab the ruler tool over on the left, right here. You see that little blue ruler? And you click along, you pick a candlestick where you think you might want to make the buy, and you drag it up until it touches the upper exponential, or the upper moving average line, and you can see the difference there. In this case, where I chose, it's got 1.03% difference between the two. So this could also be used to help you determine how big of a difference you want to make between your EMAs or SMAs, whichever one you're using. And then that would help you determine your own all by value. Now, similarly, if we go over to EMA, I just want to show you what it looks like. This is a slightly different curve, but this is the same coin market on Binance. This is Litecoin price in Bitcoin. This is just using exponential moving average, and then this chart is simple moving average. So with the EMA, it seems to track a little closer to the price on the chart, whereas the SMA straight average is a lot more gradual curve. So we have an idea how to set this up for our pairs file. Why don't we take a look at DCA. And we have the same kind of setup, except now we have a buy trigger. So we have the SMA spread and EMA spread. And you have your buy value. It's going to behave the same way only after the buy trigger is met. So the bot is going to look to see, has my coin dropped this percentage value that I set here at the buy trigger? In my case, I put -5. So I'm looking for a 5% drop in the coin's price from its previous average price, which is what you buy it at. The average price of what you bought it at before. So once it meets this buy trigger threshold right here, then it's going to try and run the buy strategy. And it's going to look to see, do I have a spread between my two moving averages of at least this 0.5%? So the fast moving average is below the slow moving average. So when it looks on the chart, it's going to say, has it dropped enough? And then, is the spread between these two lines big enough? And then it'll try to buy, factoring in your trailing buy. If you're not familiar with trailing buy, I highly suggest you go watch that video because I'm not covering it here. So now we've gone over how to set your pairs file and DCA file and find out a little bit how you can check the spread between these in order to determine your buy value. Now, backtesting this, a good way to check is to see if there is a good price dip somewhere on the chart here, and then measure the difference between the moving average to see, would this be a good place to set, or a good value to set to reach these kinds of lows. And as it continues to drop down, you could kind of estimate that. And if you see the same thing over and over in the chart where it's dipping pretty low and there's a good spread between the two, it could be a viable strategy to use. So that is entirely how to set up EMA spread or SMA spread. To recap, I've gone over the pairs file setup, DCA file setup, how to chart it, and also how one method and how to backtest it. Hopefully, after viewing this, you have a good understanding of how to use EMA spread and SMA spread and can use it to your advantage. If you have any questions or are in need of further support, please visit the ProfitTrailer Wiki, and if it does not answer all of your questions, come on over to the ProfitTrailer official support server at the link displayed on your screen.